Ray Taglione?
Yeah, French, I had a prepared statement that I was going to read, but before I read that prepared statement, I kind of got a pain in my stomach when I heard that you were going to write Paul Shue a recommendation. I want you to remember that Paul Shue was the person that tried to have Mr. Schubert committed to a psychiatric institute because he didn't want him to speak at these meetings. And I also want you to remember that Paul Shue was the fellow who lied to the city council about the inspections on Hen Island. That was verified by Mayor Otis after Mr. Shue was let go. I'd like to read my statement, and I'd like not to be interrupted.
Well, does it have to do with city council business?
Why don't you get your little hammer ready? Yes, it does have to do with city council.
And what is the issue?
I'm going to read it to you, sir. Please try not to interrupt me.
Did you give your residence to the clerk?
Excuse me?
Your name and address?
My address is 600 Anderson Hill Road. That would be the place where we met while you were campaigning. That would be the place that we discussed where you were going to get rid of Mr. Plunkett and Mrs. Wilson because the legal fees were too high in Rye. Do you remember that, Mr. French?
I obviously have a different interpretation of your...
Oh, you don't remember that? I didn't think you would.
No.
Mayor French, after attending the third Board of Ethics meeting and asking Chairman Matthews about the board's powers and duties, I now understand that the Ethics Board is only empowered to render advice to the City Council. And after the Board of Ethics delivers its advice, it is the members of the Rye City Council who need to consider that advice and then make a joint council determination after performing a council-led factual-based investigation or not. Unfortunately, that process was not previously followed when the Board of Ethics reviewed the issues surrounding your illegal second star exemption and the building department violations that you were issued for building without permits or required safety inspections on your 13 Richard Place rental property. Thus, I feel it's timely here and now if you could tell the public what you intend to do to rectify the Ethics Board's process prior process errors that prevented resolutions of multiple unanswered questions about how, without any special preferential treatment, you circumvented so many code sections and then tried to claim Ethics Board's absolution.
Are you finished?
I asked you a question, sir.
Finish your statement.
I just read my statement, and I'm waiting for your response.
I'm not going to respond. I mean, I do have an alibi. Mrs. Pure's my third grade teacher, because a lot of what you're referring to took place when I was in the
I'm sorry,
third
sir, I
grade.
can't hear. Could you
So,
speak up?
Thank you.
I
Jim
didn't-
Amico, you're next.
Sir, I didn't hear what you said. Could you speak up a little?
No, I already made my statement.
You said something about third grade?
Yeah.
And what was that, sir?
Jim Amico, you ready?
Scott said he was going to give me an update tonight.
You want to come to the podium? No, you're next.
Does that mean
Signed it?
you're not going to repeat your statement, Mr. Mayor?
I've already said the statement. I have an alibi. It's my third grade teacher. What you're referring to happened when I was in the third grade.
So didn't you pay a violation to the Westchester County tax for $16,000? And didn't you pay a $1,000 fine to Rye for building without a permit?
Jim, you want to come speak? You ready? Next.
I'm waiting for an answer to that question, Mr. Mayor.
You've made your statement. We're going to move on with the agenda.
So you refuse to answer the question?
I've answered the question enough times.
You didn't tell me if you paid a violation to the city of Rye for building without a permit. It was $1,000.
This is your opportunity to make some comments to the council. We're going to move on with the agenda. I've made my statements to the public, and we're going to move on. Jim?